on behalf of the Institute for Leadership and Strategic Foresight. Welcome to So You Want to Be the Chief, a podcast for leaders.
As I always say, I am blessed, and today is no different. I am blessed with a young man whom I got to see get promoted here in the last year and a half or so. He was a senior master sergeant the last year, I think. And we got to talking. I gave him a copy of the book. We hung out a little bit. And as I always say, you hang with the chief, you get promoted. Chief Hunt, Patrick Hunt, congratulations, brother.
Thank you.
I'm you deserve it, man. I know you deserve it. And I can't say that, people who do get it don't deserve it, but some people really, really do, and I know you really, really do. But anyway, you've been at the Center for Character and Leadership Development at the United States Air Force Academy for a couple of years.
Yes, it'll be. It's 3 years.
3 years, okay.
3 years.
Okay, but you came out of the COP field, right? The security forces.
Security forces career field.
Okay.
Yes.
And did you come from a different base to USAFA, or were you at USAFA already?
So I came from a different base. I was at Lajesville, Portugal, when I got the assignment to come here at CCLD. So I was in the Security Forces career field there. The Security Forces presence there was a little bit smaller because it was an air base wing.
Yeah.
So we kind of shared the responsibilities of security and law enforcement with the Portuguese. So that was a bit different, but still, all in all, we was in the Security Forces career field.
Yeah. Having been there, TDY, a couple of times, I always called it Fantasy Island. Gosh, what a beautiful place. Assuming that you could land and take off, because the winds were so bad, man. I mean, I can imagine your hair blowing all over the place while you were there.
Yeah.
But the times that I was there, Chief, that it seemed like a good mission. It was interesting to be out in the middle of, in the Pacific. Is it? No, the Atlantic.
Atlantic,
nowhere, just water everywhere.
Just water.
But anyway, it was a pretty good, and I was in refuelers, so that's how we got in there to either get some gas so we could go refuel somebody else, or vice versa. But good times. So how long you been in altogether?
It was 24 years, the 24th of July. So
okay.
I've been in Air Force 24 years since 2001.
Yeah. Wow. And where are you from? What's your hometown? Or
I'm from Buffalo, New York.
Are you really?
Yeah. Bills fan.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, check this out. I mean, if you ain't got the star, man, you ain't nothing.
All right.
Yeah. Well, the wait till next year, Cowboys.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way it's going to go, I guess.
The Cowboys have helped the Bills wait till next year a couple of times, right?
Yeah. Well, but they make a lot more money than you and I ever did, man. So I don't feel sorry for any of them,
That's true.
Poor Dak. Shut up.
Yeah.
He's making more money than anybody. No. Anyway, we'll see what happens this year. So, so having been in the Center for Character and Leadership Development, Chief, you got to share your ideas, your experiences, your thoughts with a bunch of cadets who are, as we speak, they're just showing up to their first assignment as second lieutenants. So, did you have a good time doing that with them?
Oh yes, I had a great time with them. I was able to give them some enlisted perspective and have them understand a little bit of how we think and how our culture is. Because believe it or not, when I first got here to the Air Force Academy, I realized that the officers and enlisted had two different cultures. A lot of our heroes are enlisted, and a lot of their heroes are, officers. And I think the only officer that we recognize a lot of important officers, but on the enlisted side, the officers that we really think about the most is probably Lance B. John. It's because it was an award named after him. And then a lot of times we talk about John Levitot, the Chapmans, of the world and things of that nature. So I realized we had a different culture. So I was able to kind of share some of the enlisted culture and why we think the way we do, and give them a peek under the tent, and also give them some tips and tools that they would need to lead enlisted, because they're going to lead the enlisted. They're going to lead the men and women. So they need to understand, how we think and and our culture to kind of bake that into their leadership style and kind of help us get to the next level.
Yeah. And I don't know that you know, Chief, I may have given you a copy, but I wrote a book called Air Power, Eight Basic Habits of Exceptionally Powerful Lieutenants, 20 some years when I first got to the academy, to give them the enlisted perspective. And you're exactly right. I've been saying this for 25 years. They're going to graduate, become a lieutenant, and lead enlisted people, not other officers. And you know, man, it bugged the crap out of me when I was on the TISO, and we were trying to make them lieutenant colonels. No, man, they're 18 years old. They're going to graduate at 22, 23, and they're not going to know anything about leading enlisted people. So it's good that we have y'all, and we have. I think there are two per squadron at least, and more enlisted people throughout the academy. I think in the last few years.
And my position is a 9 hotel, which is a lot of people don't know about that, but that's an academic faculty. So it's about 14 of us who are actually in the classroom teaching bachelor's courses to some of the cadets. So we have more connection time with the cadets than, let's say, a normal AMT or senior enlisted group leader will. We're actually in the classroom teaching them their courses to graduate.
Yeah. And as you say that, there are opportunities for chiefs or senior enlisted folks to do that, right? I mean, there's obviously an application process. I mean, if nothing else, you can go on that website, probably the academy, and or ask your personnel is, how do I get to, how do I apply for this stuff? Because it is available. It's like, and the same thing with as a chief, my general and I went toe to toe on this one, because he was asking me to support his drum up, I guess, business for the academy when I was a senior enlisted advisor. And I said, man, I can't do that, sir. I'm an enlisted guy. I want to keep my enlisted people. I don't want to take my best and make them officers. And but I didn't even realize that you could go to the Air Force Academy. Now there's criteria, of course. You got to be single, certain rank, certain age, and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't realize it, Chief, that you could do that. And then, and I still believe, I still don't want to give up my best enlisted people. But nonetheless, if they want to go on and get into that, there are opportunities for that as well. So I commend to any of the chiefs that are listening to, or any enlisted people who are listening right now, there's ways to go to become a cadet at the academy, and there's ways to teach at the academy. So ask somebody, because otherwise we're just ignorant and don't know any better, which is that was my problem. So
like I tell my young enlisted folks, don't wait for opportunities to come to you. Go out and seek opportunities.
Yep,
there's a lot of things you can find on Google to help you with your career.
And now AI will tell you, man. It's like, I don't even want to know about it. But as a chief, and you've been a chief for a little over a year, is that correct?
That's incorrect. I'll probably like 6 months. I'm going on 6 months right here.
Is that right? So you're a brand new chief.
A brand new chief. I'm brand new to the rank, but in security forces, you tend to have some responsibilities as a senior master sergeant that a chief would. So I would say 6 months in the rank, but like mentality wise and how I think I've been thinking like a chief for probably like 2-3 years.
Yeah. Well, and we've always said that we promote on potential, and I don't agree with that. I think exactly what you're describing. We promote on experience, because we put people in those positions already, and then, okay, by the way, let's give you the stripes. That's basically really more how it works. Then you have the potential to be a chief. You've already done the job, or else we're not going to give it to you. I think that's okay. That's the right way to do it, but it's not really based on potential. But so in my day, Chief, and it's interesting, because I have had people on this program that say that it doesn't happen anymore. But in my day, I was ready to be a chief when I put the stripes on, because I had been mentored. And I was the last couple of years, I guess, before I put on chief, I was at Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery, Alabama, where that's the mecca for PME, and there were a million chiefs there, and they all, and some of them almost beat me up to make me what I needed to be. A lot of times they'd say, hey, you got to do this. No, I don't. Yes, you do, and you will. And I did.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did. But at the
Yeah.
time, it's like, no, I ain't doing that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you are. So I'm glad that I had that experience because those chiefs, Guap, Nate White, guide us, Boudreaux, all those guys made me, I think, a decent chief, but they got me ready. So
Yeah.
is do we do that anymore, Chief? Or do we get the youngsters? And back in my day, again, we used to say that our job as a chief, as a senior enlisted person, is to work ourselves out of a job. We need
That's
to
true.
teach that person that's coming behind us to do the things that we do, so we can go on and do something else.
That's
Does that still happen?
it still happens. It's not as deliberate as it used to be back in the day. But I know myself as a chief, I try to bring those up with me because being a chief is a time honored tradition. You can't at some point you got to take this uniform off, and you got to make sure that you set up your future for success by giving them the tools. Um, the mentorship that they need to be successful coming forward because the younger generation that's coming up, they're smarter than us, which is okay, but they still need some of those tangible things to help them be great leaders. And that's where that mentorship comes from. And that's where building relationships come from. And it still happens, but it doesn't happen like it used to back in the day. It was one of those things where they sat in your office and then went over A through Z what you need to do to be promoted or what you need to do to move to the next level. It's not really like that anymore. I've had a few mentors in my day to help me get to the next level. And but also, like I spoke about earlier, you need to go out and seek those mentors. You got to go out and seek those opportunities to be developed. And also, me working in CCLD, you have to own, engage, and practice. And the own piece is you have to own the pursuit of your identity and the pursuit of how you want to be a leader. So at some point, you have to take ownership of it yourself and choose to develop yourself. And then the mentors will come. You can go out and seek them, but you have to go out there and seek them. And then you have to take it on yourself, read books, try to go out there and practice in purposeful experiences to help you become a better leader. And those things, you just have to own it yourself.
Yeah.
It's not going to come to you. You have to own it.
Yeah, and I think there's a balance there, Chief. You're absolutely right. You need to go seek that help. And, we're not very good about seeking help. We think, especially once you got the stripe. Well, I made it. No, you're not even. You just
Mm.
started, man. Wait till it hits you straight in
Yeah.
the face, because it's going
Yeah.
to hit you straight in the face. And on the other hand, I think as you get more experience as a chief, you need to be looking for those young ones. That's why I do this program. I didn't seek you out. I just ran across you, I guess, at CCLD when I
Yeah.
met you. But once I met you, and I said, man, let me help you as best I can. My experience is dated, of course, but I tried to give you a little bit of that. What we're missing, I think, from the old guys, Chief, is the why.
Yeah.
Why did you guys do that? You know, uh, I don't know if you ever had the opportunity to speak to some of the charter chiefs. I did, and those charter chiefs had a lot of wisdom, man. It was
Mhm.
like, wow, I never knew that was the way it was. And and now I think, especially with AI, I mean, with all the technology that we have, the youngsters can Google it, like you said. You can
Yep.
Google it, and those may not be the right answers, though.
Mm.
Because they seldom have the why. They may tell you this is do this, do that, blah 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 blah, but it doesn't say why. Where the older ones, and again, the older ones, the more mature ones, the more experienced ones, I think it's incumbent upon us to find the young ones and say, hey, this is why we did it. Maybe it's still valid, maybe it's not, but at least you have a reason why we did it. Because everything comes in cycles, man. I don't know if I still have my ties from 1995,
Yeah.
because one day they're going to be back in, man, and I'm
Yeah.
going to be the
Yeah.
first one, man. I'm going to be so GQ. People are going to say, Chief, where'd you get that tie? And let me tell you, 1995, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're going back to your career field soon.
That's correct.
Okay, back to the cops. And
Yes.
uh, will it be do you think it'll be a different experience? I mean, it'll be different because now you got a bunch of stripes Will you be like a flight chief, a flight? What
So
position are you gonna have?
I'm going to be the SEL, the Senior Enlisted Leader, and more than likely, they used to call it a Security Forces Manager. You
Right.
don't call it Security Forces Manager anymore. I call it Senior Enlisted Leader. The Air Force went to Senior Enlisted Leader. I'm a little nervous about going back, but I'm also excited, and I'm excited because everything that I've saw or seen in my career that I probably didn't like or would like to change when I was a young Security Forces Airman, I now can be the author and the creator of that organizational climate. Senior enlisted leaders across the Air Force, we are the authors of the organizational climate. We control the climate of the organization. When they say senior enlisted leaders or enlisted as the backbone of the Air Force, that is absolutely correct. But once you become that senior enlisted leader or that chief, you have to be the chief. You have to be able to create that culture of leadership, that culture of having a family, that culture of taking care of people. I know the mission is going to come first, but we also have to focus in and dive in into the people who actually do the mission. And if we take care of the people, the mission will probably go as far as we want it to go because we're taking care of the people. If the people feel cared about, they feel loved, they feel heard, and they feel like you're going to protect them, if you get them a safe, create a safe space and a safe environment for them, for them, they'll run through a wall for you. You just got to take care of the people. You
Yeah.
have to take care of the people.
Yeah. Now, as you say, and I don't want to sound negative, but the cops have not been good about doing that in historically. We often say cops eat their own, and because they're so tough on each other. Do you feel like you're going to, well, obviously you're going to be able to change the culture,
Yeah,
at least within your organization. But
yeah.
is that, and I'm generalizing, of course, but as the cops as a field, uh, is what you're saying plausible in the cop field?
Yeah, and the reason why people suggest that we eat our own is because we hold everybody in the security forces career field to a high standard. So if we're security forces and we're walking around here and we enforcing the law, that means we got to be doing the right thing. That means we shouldn't get DUIs, we shouldn't get domestics, we shouldn't run the gate, we shouldn't do drugs, we shouldn't do those things like that. But when our personnel do those things and participate in those things, so we're gonna hold them accountable. And of course, if you got the biggest career field in the Air Force and you say, hey, we got 10 cops or we have 5 cops that has Article 15s, of course it's going to look like a lot of cops is doing a lot of the bad things, but that's not necessarily the case. Our numbers are going to be bigger anyway, just because we're a big career field. But when we hold people to the standard, there is nothing wrong with holding people to the standards. But after they get their punishment and it stings a little bit, we need to show them what right looks like. And I know a lot of times, sometimes security forces forget to tell our people what right looks like. And we'll sit there and be, hey, he got an Article 15 3 years ago. Okay, that was 3 years ago. But at this point, we still have to be mentors and leaders to show them what right looks like, because I've had some bad times in my career, but somebody showed me what right looks like after I had that bad time. So when you show them what right looks like, they can get past that bad time and go on to be great chiefs and great senior NCOs. Because I don't believe anybody has a perfect career. If you have a perfect career, I think you are lying. And you need some hiccups, you need some bad times, you need some tough times and some times of adversity to help you throughout your career. That's a forging process that makes you better and that makes you stronger to move forward to the next part of the mission or the next part of your chapter of your life.
Yeah.
So you need to have those bad times to build some calluses to help you be better for the things that's going to come in the near future.
Yeah, and particularly in the cop field, chief. But as an airman, so Airman Vasquez, not necessarily a cop, just Airman Vasquez. You see him, and you're going to Kirtland, I think you said, right? That's your next assignment.
Correct.
So you see him come onto the base, and you spot him, and you happen to be at the food court, and you sit with them just to chat. What are you going to tell Airman Vasquez about this Air Force?
I'm going to tell them the Air Force is what you make it. The Air Force is what you make it. Again, going back to the CCLD principles, own, engage, and practice. Own what you want to do in the Air Force and how great you want to be. Engage in purposeful experiences that's going to help you be a better leader and be a better airman, and practice. When you engage in those purposeful experiences, you got to continue to practice. You got to continue to go through. Got to continue to read books. You got to continue to be better. Continue to uh, be comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's how you grow. That's how you grow. And the first thing I'll do when I meet Airman Vasquez is just build a relationship with him. How are you? How long have you been in? Do you have a family? What do you like to do in your off time? Because I think once you get to know the person, you will be able to do more and lead them a little bit more. And I heard one of the chiefs, I think he was the Air Force Material Command Chief. Oh man, I can't remember his name. He was a command chief, and he said you lead between the ears. So you lead them with your mind. You get their mind, and then you capture their heart, and that's how you can be able to lead folks. That's how you lead folks. You lead between the ears.
Yeah, and one of the things that you said a little while ago, Chief, was I think it's powerful and it's true, is by modeling. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be that type of person because they're going to watch you. You know, we're all being. I think it was Patton that said we're always on parade. People are watching us all the time, especially, and you know, once it's an interesting thing. Once you make chief, it's not that big a deal to be a chief, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Before you make chief, it's a huge deal because you see these guys with and women with all these stripes. It's like, man, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. You don't, you know, I did. I wondered. I wonder what it's like to be a chief. You know, again, once you're, it's not a big deal. That's a big a deal. You still got to put your pants on the same way and the blouse, your boots, and all.
Rick,
Well, do you guys wear boots anymore, or is it just sneakers?
we wear boots.
Okay.
Yeah, we wear boots.
Yeah.
We
But I
wear
think
boots.
what sometimes we forget that, yeah, we made it to the top, man. We're the top 1%, but that should be humbling,
It is.
you know,
It
not
is.
ego, not to build your ego, because, you know, there's only 1%, and it's a pretty
Yeah.
cool thing to be a chief.
Yeah.
What do you think's the most fun about being a chief so far?
Um, I think the most fun about being a chief is people listen now. I'm not saying they didn't listen when I was a senior or when I was a master sergeant, but people listen now, and I mean by colonels and just leaders. Leaders ask for my input and how I think about things and how I view things, and I think that's the most fun thing about it. That again, going back to how I can shape a culture of a unit, I can shape a culture of a unit because um, our opinion matters. Our opinion matters because we are the top of the enlisted force. So we know what the enlisted force actually needs and what the enlisted force actually wants. So I think that's the most fun. And then getting to know people more and being able to mentor people is probably one of the greatest things I will ever do. And just being able to help somebody with a life situation, all military stuff out the window. But if I could help somebody be a better man and be a better woman, I inherently think that once you make them better men and better women, they automatically are going to become better leaders because I'm making them a better person all around.
Yeah. And something that we sometimes don't consider often enough is that as a chief, you're not just leading the enlisted people, but it goes upward too. You know, Chief Gwaltney, I don't know what his first name was, Chief. When I first made chief, he took me aside and he said, Bob, if you want to be an effective chief, you got to be willing to get your butt chewed at least once a week.
Oh yeah.
And that
Yep.
meant I needed to go to the general, I needed to my boss and be up straight up and tell them, no, this is not going to work. Boss, if you do this, we're going to go to jail. You know, all of the things
Mhm.
that they, you know, every colonel, every general that I ever worked for in our interview, our first interview, told me, you need to keep me out of trouble.
Yep.
Whatever it takes, you got to come in here and tell me not to do some stuff
Yep.
or to do some stuff. But keep me out of trouble. And I think that's
Mhm.
a huge responsibility, Chief. And we can't forget that because, and even those youngsters, you know, those lieutenants that are walking around at the academy, you know,
Mhm.
you got to have the gumption to tell them, hey, I was going to say get your hands out of your pockets, but that's okay now. That bugs the crap out of me. I'm a
Yeah,
PME guy. That bugs the crap out of me.
yeah.
But you have to be willing to correct them.
Uh,
And then, of course, in a respectful way. I know, and especially, I know you well enough that you would do it in a respectful way. But we need to lead not only the enlisted people, but those above us
Officers
as
as
well.
well.
Like you
Yeah.
say, to make them a good person, a good officer. You know, I've been around plenty of senior leaders who have gotten fired,
Hmm.
and I always say, man, at least part of the problem was the chief. The chief should
Yeah.
have been in there working on
Exactly.
this, and then not you don't. It's not your responsibility only, but you have some responsibility with that '06,
Yeah.
that general. That no, this is my general. I take care of him. I've had to correct people. I've had to correct generals' uniforms.
Hmm.
The epaulet. It always comes out the left one. All in service dress, it's always the left one, and it's always popping out. And I
Yeah.
always have to go up to the general and say, hey, boss, let me fix your uniform because
Yeah.
it's out of red.
Great.
So anyway, you can't forget. I don't think you can forget as a chief to do that for our officers. They deserve it. We deserve it, and that makes us all better.
Yeah, so going back to what you said about being top 1% is not, you said it's no big deal, but it really is. Like having these stripes is really, really heavy because you have to be always in regs. You have to be on parade. You always have to be the sharpest. You got to get 90s and above on your PT test because you are the top enlisted member. So everybody's looking to you for guidance. Everybody's looking to you for the example. And these stripes are really heavy. These stripes are really, really heavy. So it is sort of a big deal. I wake up with pressure every single day because I feel like, I don't slack on my uniform or PT anyway, but I just feel like if one day I get caught slipping, somebody's watching me. Hey, you top 1%. You got to do this. You got to do that.
Yeah.
So these stripes are very, very heavy, but I'm up to the challenge because I want to be an example for people to follow. And I enjoy being top 1%. I
Yeah.
enjoy being a chief master sergeant. And I want people to look at me and show them what right, so I can show them what right looks like.
Yeah. And I tell you what, man, the best thing is that parking spot at the BX.
Yeah,
You know, I don't think there is one anymore. I don't not at USAFA that there is not one. Uh, that used to be a little bit of a now there is one at the commissary. So
yeah,
at
yeah.
least you got all those groceries you could put you could put them in your
Yeah,
car.
it is
But
one at the commissary. It is one at the commissary. I think I went there a couple weeks ago and I looked. I said, "Oh, it's a cheap spot there."
yeah.
Didn't even notice it. It's one at the gym too, believe it or not.
Oh, is that right? Well,
Yeah,
that's a good one to have because
yeah,
after
yeah.
after you work out, man, the older you get, it's harder to get to the car.
That's
Trust
true.
me. I'll give you 20 years and you're going to understand. Oh yeah, the chief was right, man. It's getting
Yeah,
hard.
yeah.
Now you say you've been in 24 years, so you're going to make it a career. You're going to make it 30, or what's your plan now?
It just depends on how things go. I'm going back to the career field, see how it is. But when you have family involved, it's a little bit difficult. Like I have a sophomore, my daughter's going to her sophomore year, and moving around may not be as beneficial as it was when they were younger and in grade school and things of that
Yeah,
nature. So I just got to play it by ear and see how it
yeah,
goes.
yeah.
But I know I had to do at least 2 more years because of my active duty service commitment
Okay.
from making chiefs. So
Yeah,
I have to do at least 2 more years.
yeah,
So we'll see how it goes. But being here at the Air Force Academy, I've had a couple people tug my shoulder and say, "Hey, when I get a when I get a wing, or if I get a wing, you're gonna be my command chief." So that's very intriguing when people say things like that. But I just
yeah,
gotta see how it goes, especially when it
yeah,
comes to
yeah.
come to your family and things like that.
Yep.
And that's another thing. I being a chief, I have to take care of my family and have to do things was right for my family.
Right.
And people are that's gonna be an example. People gonna say, "Hey, Chief was a great guy, but his family came first. His family, and then my Air Force family, and then things like that." So I gotta be an example. I
Yeah.
don't want to, put my family at risk because my family at risk. That means I'm not going to be able to give 100% to my people in the unit or my commander. So when that things happen, when those things become out of balance or not harmonized, if you will, that becomes an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right, Chief. We have to model that part of our lives for our airmen and everybody as well. You know, it's not always easy to maintain that balance, but you can do it at least part of the time.
Yeah, it's true.
But you know, and the job is easy, man, and it's fun. You know,
Mhm.
that's why we do it. You know, try right. Wow, you got a sophomore daughter, you said, right?
Correct.
Let me put you on my prayer list right now, uh, because I think
Thank you.
I won't say it gets worse. It gets crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, they think differently, and that's you know, I've got two daughters now.
Mhm.
One of them turns 44 tomorrow, and the other one is going to turn 40. So they're grown and they got their own kids, but still, those are my babies. You know, those are my princesses, and
Yeah.
that never changes. So
Yeah.
you got to take care of them. So.
Yeah.
Well, Chief, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show, man. And God bless you. You're here the next few months that you're at USAFA. You know how to reach me, and
Yes,
we
sir.
both know where Chick-fil-A is. So you know we got
Yeah.
to meet up there every once
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
while.
that's true. That's true. Hey, I
Yeah,
appreciate the opportunity for coming down and getting a chat with you. Like always, I always learn some things from you, and I'll make sure I'll pay it forward.
that's what air power is all about.
Yes, sir.
God bless you, brother.
Take care.